Beneath the crystal canopy, the sun had long since dipped below the jagged horizon of Ilum. But beneath the towering crystalline ice forests, a quiet luminescence pulsed steadily in the oppressive cold. Dr. Alara Voss led her team carefully into this glowing wilderness. The sharp crunch of their boots on frozen ground, the only sound breaking the eerie stillness. The crystalline branches arched overhead like a vast, translucent cathedral, their surfaces shimmering with an ethereal blue light that seemed to originate from within the ice itself. It was as if the forest breathed, alive in a way none had expected. Alara adjusted the collar of her insulated jacket, her breath escaping in visible puffs as she scanned the strange environment. Her sharp eyes caught the glint of iridescent leaves swaying gently despite the absence of wind. "Remarkable," she murmured, voice hushed. "The bioluminescence, it's not just an optical illusion. There's life here, thriving against all odds." Beside her, Captain Rion Kessler moved with practiced vigilance. His broad shoulders tensed, eyes sharp beneath the brim of his helmet. "Stay alert," he warned quietly. "We don't know what's out here." His hand hovered near his sidearm, a silent testament to the dangers lurking beneath the ice canopy. Myra Thalon was already crouched near a cluster of glowing flora, her bright eyes wide with fascination. Her fingers deftly manipulated a small scanner, sending pulses toward a cluster of pulsing blue bulbs embedded in the ground. "These plants aren't just bioluminescent, they appear to be communicating," she said excitedly, glancing up at Ilara. "The light pulses have a rhythm, almost like a signal." Ilara nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. If these organisms have developed a form of communication, it hints at a complex ecosystem, one that could have supported intelligent life. This might be the living legacy of the civilization we're searching for. Thomas Veer, the team's geologist, knelt nearby, carefully chipping away at a chunk of ice encrusted with strange crystalline growths. "The mineral composition here is unlike anything I've seen," he reported, eyes gleaming through frosted goggles. "The ice itself seems to be infused with biological material life integrated with geology. It's symbiotic, perhaps." As the team ventured deeper, strange movement flickered at the edges of their vision. Shadows shifted beneath the glowing canopy, and soft rustling sounds echoed faintly. Suddenly, a creature emerged, a slender, quadrupedal being with iridescent scales that caught the light in dazzling patterns. It paused, regarding the team with luminous eyes, before melting silently back into the crystalline underbrush. "Did you see that?" Mira whispered, her voice tinged with awe and uncertainty. "Life here isn't just plants. There are animals intelligent, perhaps adapted to this alien environment." Captain Kessler's expression hardened. "Keep your guard up. We don't know if they're hostile, but we can't afford surprises out here." Meanwhile, Lena Ortiz adjusted her communications gear, her fingers flying over the controls. "I'm picking up faint signals," she said, eyes scanning the screen. "They're fragmented, distorted, but definitely artificial. They could be related to that lost transmission we're chasing." Alara stepped aside, pulling out her journal as she began to record detailed observations. "This ecosystem challenges everything we thought about Ilum. It's not a dead, frozen wasteland, it's alive, vibrant beneath the ice, and possibly connected to the ancient civilization's technology and knowledge." The team pressed on, each step revealing more wonders and dangers. The soft glow of bioluminescent plants illuminated alien flowers with delicate petals like glass, their colors shifting subtly. Strange insects flitted through the air, their wings reflecting the crystalline light in dazzling patterns. The atmosphere was thick with mystery and the weight of discovery. But beneath the beauty lurked a palpable tension. The environment felt watchful, as if the planet itself was alive and aware of their presence. The ancient defenses hinted at in previous chapters seemed linked to this vibrant ecosystem, an extension of the Ilum Enigma's will to protect its secrets. As night deepened, the team gathered around a small camp beneath a particularly luminous tree, the gentle glow casting long shadows. "We're standing on the threshold of a revelation," Ilara said softly, her voice carrying the weight of hope and caution. "But the more we uncover, the more we realize how little we truly understand this world, than the price we might pay for our curiosity." Captain Kessler nodded, eyes scanning the crystalline canopy overhead. "Survival here means respecting the unknown, balancing exploration with caution. We've only just begun to scratch the surface." Mira smiled faintly, her fingers tracing patterns on the glowing bark. "And I'm ready to see what secrets the light reveals next." The team settled for the night, the bioluminescent forest humming softly around them, living, breathing enigma waiting to be unraveled. And somewhere deep beneath the ice, the ancient civilization's legacy watched and waited, its crystalline heart beating in time with the frozen planet's pulse. The mysteries of Ilum were far from solved. The frozen expanse of Ilum stretched endlessly under the low, pale sun, a landscape of shimmering crystalline ice forests that glittered like a sea of fractured glass. The exploration team had thought the greatest dangers were the brutal cold and the alien terrain. But now, as the ancient automated defenses stirred to life, a new menace revealed itself with terrifying clarity. Dr. Ilara Voss stood near the edge of a crystalline pillar formation, her breath misting in the frigid air as she peered at the glowing alien glyphs projected mid-air by Mira's hastily modified device. The device hummed with an eerie resonance, its pulsating light casting long, flickering shadows that danced across the ice. "These inscriptions," Ilara murmured, "they're a warning, or perhaps a trigger." Mira wiped a smear of grease from her forehead, eyes bright despite the cold. "I managed to override some of the language blocks. There's a sequence here that seems to activate defense protocols. We've poked the hornet's nest." Before Ilara could respond, a sudden, sharp crack echoed through the icy forest. Violet crystalline beams sliced through the air, striking near the team with a shattering burst that sent ice shards spraying like deadly glass rain. The team instinctively dove for cover, the sound of cracking ice and colliding crystal reverberating like thunder. Captain Rion Kessler was already barking orders. "Fall back, defensive positions, keep moving." His voice was calm but firm, a beacon of steadiness amid the chaos. The broad-shouldered man scanned the horizon, eyes narrowed beneath his fur-lined hood, the scar on his left cheek gleaming faintly in the cold light. "They're activating," he said grimly. "Automated defense systems, ancient but still deadly. We triggered something down there." Dr. Jonas Reeve checked his medical kit as he moved, alert for injuries. His tall, thin frame seemed almost fragile against the violent backdrop, but his hands were steady and sure. "Everyone, keep your heads. Stay calm." The ground trembled beneath their feet, rhythmic thuds echoing like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Hidden sentinels beneath the ice began to stir, mechanical constructs forged long ago by a civilization whose legacy was now a deadly trap. "We need to get to higher ground," Ilara shouted, her analytical mind racing. "If these defenses are tied to the ruins, we can find a vantage point to study their patterns." Mira fumbled with her tools, trying to hack the alien technology amid the storm of attacks. "The control panel is responding. If I can just hold them off a little longer." But the defenses were relentless. Pulses of energy shot from crystalline towers, illuminating the swirling snow with eerie light. The team moved as one, a well-oiled machine despite the growing panic. Lena Ortiz relayed communications, her warm smile replaced by intense focus. No response from base. We're on our own out here. Tomas Villa, the geologist, pointed to a cluster of crystalline outcrops. Over there, that formation might shield us from the energy bursts. Eli Marks led the way, navigating the treacherous ice with precision. While Sasha Kim ensured supplies were secure, her efficient movements a quiet reassurance. Behind the crystalline outcrop, the team regrouped, faces flushed and breath visible in the icy air. The howling wind whipped at their gear, but their resolve was unbroken. Ilara looked around at the faces, determined, exhausted, yet unyielding. "This is the Guardian's warning," she said, voice low but resolute. "The planet is alive with defenses designed to protect secrets we barely understand. We must respect that power or we'll be destroyed." Captain Kessler nodded, wiping frost from his brow. "We fight smart or we don't fight at all. Prepare for tactical withdrawal, but we keep our eyes open. There's more to this than just defense." As violet beams flickered through the ice forest, the team braced for the challenges ahead. The ancient civilization's legacy was no longer just a mystery, it was a living, breathing force, and Ilum's secrets would not be uncovered without cost. "Stay sharp," Alara warned, "and trust each other. That's the only way we survive this." The crystalline ice forest pulsed with an otherworldly glow, and somewhere beneath the frozen surface, the Ilum Enigma watched a guardian awakened, ready to test the limits of human endurance and resolve. The battle for survival had only just begun, and every step forward was a step deeper into the unknown. Alara's fingers trembled slightly as she adjusted the settings on Myra's device. The alien glyphs flickered, revealing new patterns, coded messages left by a civilization that had vanished eons ago. Each symbol seemed to pulse with latent energy, a silent warning etched in light. "These defenses, they're not mindless," Alara said quietly. "They were designed with intent, with purpose." Mira looked up, grease smudged across her cheek. "It's like they're alive, or at least semi-sentient, responding to our presence, learning from us." Kessler's voice cut through the moment. "We don't have time to theorize. We're sitting ducks here." Suddenly, a sharp whine filled the air as crystalline spikes erupted from the ground, forcing the team to leap back. The ice cracked beneath their feet, and the temperatures seemed to drop even further, as if the planet itself was reacting. "Fall back," Kessler ordered. "Mira, can you shut them down?" "Trying," she shouted, fingers flying over the device. Ilara's mind raced. The defenses were a message, a barrier, but also a challenge. To understand the ancient civilization, they had to survive the trials set in their memory. Snow swirled as the team retreated, every step measured, every breath a struggle. The Guardian's warning was clear. Ilum demanded respect, and survival hinged on their ability to adapt. The ice forest closed in around them, glowing faintly with the eerie light of the defenses. The question loomed, could humanity endure this ancient wrath? Or would they become yet another lost expedition swallowed by Ilum's frozen embrace? "Ilara, status report." Kessler's voice was sharp, cutting through the howling wind. "Mira's making progress," Ilara replied, breath visible in the cold air. "We might be able to disable the main defense grid, but it's risky." The team huddled behind a crystalline outcrop, muscles tense, eyes scanning the shimmering shadows. Lena's fingers danced over the communication console, trying to reach home base. "No luck," she said, frustration creeping into her tone. "We're isolated." Jonas checked the team methodically, offering quiet words of encouragement. Stay focused. We've faced worse." Suddenly, a burst of violet light illuminated the sky as another defense turret sprang to life. Energy beams cut jagged lines through the snow, striking the ice with explosive force. Kessler grabbed Ilara's arm. "We need to move. Now." With a grim nod, Ilara signaled the retreat, the team breaking into a coordinated withdrawal. The Guardian's warning was no longer subtle. It was a battle cry, echoing through the frozen labyrinth. And as they vanished into the shifting ice, the ancient defenses pulsed, waiting for the next move in a deadly game that had lasted millennia. The team's breath came in ragged gasps, faces flushed with cold and exertion. Behind them, the ice forest shimmered with the pulse of alien technology. A guardian awakened, relentless and unforgiving. Ilara paused, glancing back at the crystalline pillars, now glowing menacingly in the twilight. "We've crossed a line," she said softly. "The ruins won't let us leave easily." Kessler's eyes met hers, a flicker of vulnerability hidden beneath his steely exterior. "Then we make our stand together." Mira's hands hovered over her tools, determination shining in her bright eyes. "We've come too far to turn back now." The Guardian's warning was clear, but so was the team's resolve. On Ilum, survival demanded courage and the willingness to face the unknown. The frozen planet was no longer a silent witness to history. It was a battleground, and the expedition's fate hung in the balance. The end of the line, or the beginning of a new discovery. With every pulse of crystalline light, the question burned hotter than the icy winds. Could humanity overcome the legacy of Ilum's ancient guardians, or would the lost expedition become yet another echo in the frozen void? The answers lay buried beneath the ice, waiting to be uncovered if the team could survive long enough to find them. The chilling silence was broken only by the distant hum of reactivating defenses, a reminder that the Guardian's warning was far from over. The narrow passageway finally opened into a vast subterranean chamber, unlike any the team had yet encountered. As they stepped inside, a chilling silence enveloped them, broken only by the faint hum of crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. The icy air was thick with an ethereal glow, emanating from translucent spires that stretched toward the cavern's vaulted ceiling, their surfaces shimmering with shifting patterns of light that danced like living flames. Dr. Ilara Voss moved cautiously, her breath visible in the cold air as she traced the ancient glyphs etched meticulously into the walls of ice and stone. The symbols told a story, warnings, histories, and a testament to a civilization whose knowledge transcended anything humanity had yet to grasp. This is a message," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "A final testament from a people who knew their end was inevitable." Captain Rian Kessler scanned the chamber continuously, his stance rigid, eyes sharp beneath furrowed brows. The scar on his cheek seemed to tighten as he motioned for the team to stay alert. "Keep your guard up. Whatever built this place isn't just history, it's a threat." His voice was low but firm, a steady anchor amid the wonder and growing unease. Mira Thalon knelt beside one of the glowing artifacts, her fingers brushing the surface with a mixture of reverence and scientific curiosity. The device was intricate, embedded with crystalline circuits that hummed softly beneath her touch. With a steady breath, she activated a control panel, and the artifact responded, flooding the chamber with a radiant light that bathed the walls in hues of blue and violet. The crystalline spires pulsed in resonance, as if awakening from a long slumber. A sudden ripple passed through the chamber, the walls themselves seeming to breathe, the light patterns flowing and converging into shapes both beautiful and terrifying. The team instinctively stepped back as the boundaries between technology and life blurred. The Ilum enigma, once an unseen force lurking beneath the ice, revealed itself in this moment not as a single entity, but as a network of sentient crystalline intelligence designed to protect and preserve. Dr. Jonas Reeve adjusted his glasses, eyes wide as he observed the physiological reactions of his teammates. We're witnessing an ancient defense system that's more than mechanical, it's organic, adaptive. This changes everything. Lena Ortiz worked quickly to intercept any transmissions, her fingers flying over her console. The signals are erratic, but I'm picking up a pattern like a warning beacon. They don't want us here. Alara stepped forward, reading aloud the inscriptions with growing clarity. They created the enigma as a last line of defense, to safeguard forbidden knowledge and prevent exploitation. This civilization understood the price of discovery and they paid it dearly. The chamber pulsed again, more violently this time, vibrational waves shaking the very ground beneath them. Crystalline formations rippled, their surfaces fracturing and reforming like breathing entities. The team braced themselves, the fragile line between exploration and survival drawn razor thin. "We've crossed the threshold," Alara said, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "There's no turning back." Kessler nodded grimly. "And whatever happens next, we face it together." Outside, the storm raged, but inside the chamber, the past and present converged in a luminous, trembling dancer, testament to the ancient civilization's enduring legacy and the perilous path the explorers had chosen. As the enigma stirred anew, the expedition's fate hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of revelation and destruction. The air thickened with anticipation, the crystalline light casting long shadows as the team prepared for what lay ahead. Each breath was a promise, each heartbeat a countdown, as they ventured deeper into the unknown, where knowledge and danger were inextricably entwined. The secrets of Ilum were no longer distant mysteries, they were alive, watching, waiting, and the expedition's next move would determine not only their survival, but the fate of humanity's understanding of the cosmos itself. The bitter cold seeped into every corner of the command tent, a thin membrane of frost tracing the edges of the translucent walls. Inside, the low hum of the environmental controls struggled against the howling wind outside, a relentless reminder of Ilum's merciless grip. Dr. Alara Voss sat rigidly before the holographic map suspended in mid-air, her gaze sharp but weary. The map glowed faintly, casting an eerie blue light across her weathered face. Around her, the expedition team gathered, each member marked by exhaustion, their breath visible in the frigid air, their bodies weighed down not only by the cold but by the burdens pressing upon them. "We can't keep going like this," said Jonas Reeve quietly, his voice steady but heavy with concern. He knelt beside Thomas Veer, who shivered uncontrollably despite layers of insulating gear. Thomas' frostbitten fingers twitched as he clutched a rock sample. "Our supplies are critically low, and the cold is breaking us." Alara nodded, rubbing her gloved hands together as she sought clarity amidst the tension. "I know, but we're closer than anyone has ever been. The data from the last scan suggests the core chamber is just beyond that ridge." Mira Thalon leaned forward, her bright eyes gleaming with a mixture of desperation and determination. "We've come too far to turn back now. If we retreat, all of this," she gestured to the alien inscriptions and crystalline ruins they had uncovered, "will remain a mystery. We have to push through." Captain Rian Kessler stood near the tent's entrance, arms crossed, his broad shoulders rigid. The scar along his left cheek twitched as he listened. "Pushing forward recklessly will get us killed. I'm responsible for this team's safety. We don't have the resources for mistakes." The room crackled with unease. Lena Ortiz, seated near the communication console, frowned as she fiddled with the equipment. Suddenly, a faint garbled transmission crackled through the static. "Wait," she whispered, leaning closer. "There's something here." Alara's eyes flickered toward Lena, hope sparking briefly before she forced herself to focus. "Can you make it out?" Lena shook her head. "Not yet. It's weak, fragmented. But it could be a signal from Earth or something else." The faint noise was swallowed again by static. The team's collective breath caught in the cold silence that followed. The fragile thread of hope trembled, yet it was enough to ignite fierce debate. "We have to investigate that signal," Myra insisted, her voice rising. "It could mean rescue or more answers." Kessler's glare was sharp, or it could be a trap. The Ilum Enigma's defenses are still active. We can't afford distractions. Ilara raised a hand, calling for calm. "Enough. We need a decision. The storm window is closing, and the risk of collapse in the ruins is increasing. If we stay too long, none of us will make it back." Voices rose in heated argument, alliances shifting as personal fears and ambitions surfaced. Myra accused Kessler of cowardice. He retorted with accusations of recklessness. Jonas urged caution, while Tomas's trembling hands betrayed the toll on his resolve. Alara felt the familiar sting of doubt, the shadow of past failures creeping in like the cold that gnawed at their bones. Hours passed as the team wrestled with their options. Finally, Alara stood, voice steady but resolute. "We press forward carefully, but only as far as our limits allow. We will prioritize safety and retreat at the first sign of danger. This expedition is bigger than any one of us. We owe it to those who didn't make it to see this through." Kessler's eyes met hers, a reluctant respect flickering beneath his stern exterior. "Understood." Mira's grin was brief but genuine. "Let's get moving, then." Outside, the wind howled like a living thing, the crystalline ice forests shimmering under the faint light of Ilum's distant sun. The team gathered their gear, each step forward a battle against fatigue and fear. Alara's heart pounded, not just from exertion, but from the weight of the choice made. The breaking point had come, and the path ahead was uncertain. As they stepped into the frozen labyrinth, shadows danced across the walls, and the silent watch of the Ilum Enigma seemed to deepen. Every sound was amplified, the crunch of boots on ice, the crackle of radios, the ragged breaths of a team pushed to their edge. Moments later, as they rounded a jagged, crystalline pillar, Mira paused, pulling a strange artifact from her pack. "Look at this," she murmured, fingers tracing the alien etchings. "It's unlike anything we've seen. If we can understand this technology, it might help us unlock the deeper secrets before the ruins collapse." Alara nodded, but her eyes scanned the horizon warily. "Stay alert. The Enigma isn't done with us yet." The team moved on, each step heavier than the last, shadows lengthening, the cold biting deeper. The breaking point had tested them, all but it had also forged a fragile unity. Their fate and the fate of Ilum's ancient legacy hung in the balance. And somewhere beneath the ice, the Enigma watched, waiting. The crystalline chamber trembled with a low, ominous hum that seemed to pulse through the very ice beneath their feet. Dr. Ilara Voss stood at the center of the ruins, the ethereal glow from alien inscriptions washing over her weather-beaten face. Around her, the team moved cautiously, eyes wide with a mixture of awe and dread. Suddenly, the hum escalated, crescendoing into a piercing frequency that set the shards of ice and crystal alight with shimmering light. Without warning, a blinding flash erupted from the core of the ruins. sending a violent shockwave rippling through the cavernous space. "Brace yourselves." "Captain Rion," Kessler shouted, his voice cutting through the chaos as jagged fragments of glowing crystal fractured and spiraled into the air like fiery embers. The team staggered but held their ground, the freezing cold now mingling with the searing heat radiating from the energy surge. Myra Thalen's eyes snapped to the alien device at the heart of the chamber, the source of the eruption. Her hands, streaked with grime and grease, moved with frantic precision over the controls and wiring, trying desperately to stabilize the volatile energy. "It's overloading." Mira gasped, sweat beading at her brow despite the cold that gnawed at their skin. "If I don't shut it down, this whole place could implode." Ilara's gaze locked with Myra's, her resolve hardening. "Do whatever it takes. We can't lose what we've found here." Captain Kessler barked orders, rallying the team to fall back toward a safer area of the ruins. "Reeve, keep everyone's vitals monitored. Ortiz, maintain our link to the ship. Any sign of external help could be our lifeline." The ice beneath them groaned ominously, fissures spiderwebbing outwards as the energy pulse intensified. Ilara felt the cold biting through her thick jacket. But there was a fire burning inside. Her unyielding determination forged through years of hardship and loss. The memories of her mentor, lost to a similar perilous pursuit, flashed through her mind, fueling her courage. "I'll stay to manually override the surge," she declared, her voice steady despite the risk. "You all need to get clear before this place becomes a tomb." Mira protested, desperation coloring her tone. "Ilara, we need you. There has to be another way." But Ilara shook her head, a faint, sad smile touching her lips. "This is the price we pay for knowledge. Just promise me you'll finish what we started." With a final nod, she turned back to the alien console, icy fingers flying across the controls as the energy pulse reached a fever pitch. The chamber erupted in a kaleidoscope of light and sound, the clash of frost and fire in a deadly dance. Around her, the team scrambled for safety, the air thick with tension and the scent of ozone. Outside the immediate blast radius, Captain Kessler's voice cut through the din, rallying the team with unyielding resolve. "We hold together. No one gets left behind." Myra's hands trembled as she continued to hack into the alien systems, desperate to buy Ilara the precious seconds needed to quell the surge. The crystalline walls shimmered and warped, the very fabric of the ruins seeming to resist their intrusion. Yet, amidst the chaos, a fragile thread of hope endured. Minutes stretched like hours. Then, with a shuddering groan, the energy pulse began to subside, the blinding light dimming to a soft glow. Ilara, breath ragged and body trembling, slumped against the console, her sacrifice having staved off the disaster. The team rushed to her side, their relief tempered by the knowledge that the ruins had not given up their secrets without exacting a toll. Captain Kessler's scarred face softened for a moment as he helped her to her feet. "You did it," he said quietly. "We owe you everything." Ilara nodded, exhaustion and fulfillment mingling in her eyes. "This is only the beginning," she whispered. "Ilum still has many stories to tell." As the team prepared to regroup and assess their next move, the ruins stood silent once more, their ancient energies quelled but far from dormant. The battle between human endurance and the enigmatic forces of Ilum had reached a fevered pitch, but the final chapter was yet to be written. The frozen planet held its breath, waiting for what would come next. The light faded, but the fire born from their struggle would burn on.